March 24th, 2022. A day that will live.
Where were you?
A day that will live in infamy in American history. I feel like Walter Cronkite reporting JFK assassination right now. That the Duke Blue Devils, Tate, march on.
Yeah.
Not only do the Duke Blue Devils march on against a Texas Tech team that I don't want to say had them on the ropes. I don't want to oversell it here, but Texas Tech was up 68-66.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of time left.
69-66.
Right.
No. That was the problem.
But Duke, Duke does not miss down the stretch. Duke wins the ball game. That in and of itself.
You say down the stretch as if it's like the last 3 minutes of the game. They did not miss the last 8 minutes of regulation. I've never seen something like that. That's a statistical anomaly unless you're dealing with Coach K's final season.
And as if that wasn't bad enough, on top of that, the two best teams, quote unquote,
remaining
in the tournament, in the country, in the tournament remaining, no matter whatever however you felt this season had gone, more than likely you believe that Gonzaga or Arizona were one of the best teams in the country. That was probably who you felt.
And if you didn't think it was one of those teams, you might say, hey, it's Kentucky. Oh, wait. And then if it wasn't Kentucky, you might be like, man, it's definitely Auburn. Oh, wait. Where are they, Mark Titus, and where are they going? They're setting up perfectly for Coach K.
On the same night the Duke wins, Gonzaga and Arizona go down.
Yeah.
It's bad vibes in your world, Tate. It's bad vibes.
For anyone, I mean, look, there's a lot of ABD fans out there, that are like anybody but Duke, and shout out to them. I think tonight was something that we expected as people that are trying to stop Coach K on this. The Blues Brothers were sent on a mission from God. This is a mission from hell, and Satan himself is back on earth, and he is walking and moving and striding and on his way to the Final Four, and he's one game away, which honestly, at this point, we talked about, can Coach K pat himself on the back? I think the Elite Eight is pretty damn close to patting himself on the back.
I feel like okay, so let's work through some hypotheticals here. How can we salvage this as Duke haters? How can
I don't know if we can. That's the
scary part.
Yeah.
Because I think tonight going up against Texas Tech, a team
how many kicks can one man have? It was kicking and screaming with Coach K. Recast the movie.
Going up against a Texas Tech team that was favored, I believe.
Yes. It became a pick'em. It became a pick'em, but opened up.
The number one defense in the country, as you said, Duke could not miss. All the questions about Duke heading into this tournament, point guard play, cohesiveness, going up against a team in Texas Tech that was going to make them think for the first time maybe all season. Duke could not win this game on athleticism alone, on individual talent alone. They were going to have to think their way to victory, Tate, which for a team full of freshmen that have never had to at any level really break the game.
No, but they've grown up. They have grown up.
That's what I'm saying, is that coming into this tournament, you were like, this is the path. This is how you beat Duke. All we need is a team like this. Texas Tech was that team. Texas Tech was the game we circled. Texas Tech was for a lot of people, our best hope. And if not Texas Tech, at least Gonzaga was waiting in the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
Gonzaga is no longer waiting in the Elite Eight.
There is no safety net.
You don't believe in Arkansas?
I believe in Arkansas. I'm just saying Arkansas. It's 5-on-8. Good luck. I mean, it's actually 5-on-9 because Coach K is also involved in the process. So I mean,
what about this? Okay.
Yeah, please.
So I'm gonna. You're a little. I don't want to say emotional, but you're more in this.
I'm not emotional. This is as expected.
I didn't say emotional. I didn't say emotional. I said I didn't want to say emotional. I didn't say you were being emotional. I literally said I don't want to say emotional. So I don't know where the emotion. Who said emotional?
I can't believe it. I just
can't
believe it.
So I'm gonna sift through the bad and give you a silver lining in all this tape.
Yeah.
Of Arkansas playing Duke and not Gonzaga. First of all, the first time they met, Duke beat Gonzaga, and they beat him kind of convincingly. So some people believe that a rematch would have favored Gonzaga. I don't know why we can believe that. Why assume that?
I think that after what I saw tonight, it honestly, I don't feel as bad about Gonzaga.
Gonzaga just wasn't, Gonzaga's
not
guard.
Gonzaga from last year, which I think a lot of people expected to be.
Right. So we now have Arkansas, and there's a two-pronged approach here that makes this beautiful. The last time Arkansas, and the only time Arkansas has ever won a national title, was in 1994. Do you know who they beat in the national championship game?
Say it louder for the people in the back.
The Duke Blue Devils.
Where did they do it?
They played in Charlotte, Tate.
Oh,
They played in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Don't you dare tell those Duke fans that, because they don't know that fact.
So there's that. There's that symmetry of like the last time Arkansas was in back-to-back Elite Eights was 94, 95.
Grant Hill's last game.
Yes,
okay.
Grant Hill was going to be on the call in this game.
Paolo,
so like that.
Grant Hill. Okay,
but this is going to make you even more excited.
All right.
Is there a player in college basketball, maybe ever, and Brad Davison is certainly the guy that everyone talks about, but like if you've been paying attention to Arkansas and if you watch this game tonight, he might be worse than Brad. Is there a player that knocking out Coach K, ending Coach K's career, would be more poetic than Jalen Williams, taking like seven charges, and 6 of them are horseshit, and the last one is like 50-50, but they still gave it to him? Is that not the greatest script you've ever heard, that Coach K is now losing his mind because his players, who are far more talented, are losing because a guy is flopping all over the floor and he cannot take it and he's arguing with the refs? Is that not like a great way for this to end?
It would be poetic. And also Jalen Williams, as we were watching the game, I said to you, Jalen Williams would be such a great Duke player, and he would thrive at Duke. And there's also another guy on Arkansas, Au'Diese Toney, who came from Pittsburgh, playing with Coach Capel in the Duke, extended family a little bit. So
the Duke cinematic universe.
Yeah, there's some familiarity between, the Duke people and the actual Arkansas players that have Duke ties. So I like what you're saying, and I like where your head's at. And also, it does feel like Duke celebrated the Final Four tonight a little bit. You know what I mean? It feels like they got ahead of themselves. But that's the same thing that they did in the second round. So it's worked before. We'll see what happens.
Let's talk about the game itself. Duke, Texas Tech, which felt like, I don't know if it got there. It didn't go to overtime. We've seen a lot of overtime games in the tournament, so I don't want to say it was the game of the tournament. But I think given the stakes, I think given the fact that everyone circled the game as this is it for Coach K.
Yeah.
How many group chats, be honest, how many group chats were you on today texting friends and family saying, we made it, this is it, this is going to be the last day?
Well, I think that was
because I was on like 5.
Yeah, I know.
I was on 5, and I'm not even a Carolina guy.
That's why I think we all jinxed it. You know what I mean? And it's on us. It's time to tap our chests and say, stop saying. We got to be superstitious about this. We're dealing with like some force that we have never reckoned with before. There's a disturbance in the force. There's something so powerful we don't even know what it is, and it's this man. It's this enigma, Coach K, who's like kicking and screaming and smiling and hugging and crying and trying to cry. Can't really cry, but he's trying to cry. And all signs are moving positive in that direction. And I'm just hoping that someone like Musselman, who is, a kind of guy that's going to wear all Bay Area hats when he flies to the Bay, you know what I mean? I'm hoping that like that good-natured energy, it's just too good, you know what I mean? Like the evil can't handle the goodness, you know what I mean? This is like when you throw water on the Wicked Witch of the West. Let's hope we can dump some water on him and see what happens.
To your point about jinxing it, I'm worried because now everyone is going to turn to Arkansas and say, Arkansas, please, you have to say this.
That's the problem.
But that's not how Arkansas wins. Arkansas wins by
everyone doubting them,
picking against them.
Camera right here. Yes. Arkansas has 0 chance in this game. And honestly, if I were Arkansas, I wouldn't even show up to the game. You're not going to win this game. There's no way that you beat Coach K in his last game here in the Elite Eight. Everyone knows that Duke's going to the Final Four. In fact, Coach Musselman, if I were you, I would just go home. Now clip that out, send that to Eric Musselman, put it up on the bulletin board, and let's win this game. That's how you beat him.
That's pretty good.
That's how you beat him.
No, really. I mean, if there's one coach that loves bulletin board material in college basketball, it's Eric Musselman.
No.
I think that might actually work.
Please clip that.
Who was the MVP for Duke? All of them?
Jeremy Roach.
Say everybody? The whole team?
Jeremy Roach. Everyone's like,
Mickey Krzyzewski? Was it Mickey? Mickey might be the MVP.
I think
Let's not sleep on Mickey.
Savarino on the bench, I think, is the MVP with his clapping and cheering. But Jeremy Roach is the difference. Jeremy Roach is the one that everyone's trying to figure out how Duke got so much better after the Carolina game. It's because Jeremy Roach has been given the keys again. They took the car away from him. They've given him the car back, and they're saying, this is your world. You run the game. You make big shots. And, look, there's not a lot of Duke players that play at Duke anymore, as we know. Jeremy Roach is Duke. Jeremy Roach is a Duke basketball player through and through. He knows what it means to wear.
Explain that.
He knows what to do to get the every single moment in a basketball game. There's a way that you could get an advantage, right? And there's a lot of people that have respect for the game that wouldn't take that advantage. And Jeremy Roach is going to take it every single time.
All right.
And that's what a Duke player does, a la Jalen Williams. I will take 7 charges, even though factually, that there should not be 7 charges called
Jalen
probably
Williams
in a
has
game.
taken. Was it 52? Did he get another one after that? 53.
I think it's 53. Yeah,
He's up
the
to
year.
53 now.
Yes. Coach K is so jealous. He's like, who is this guy? How did I not know about him? And I think you're right. I think there's a chance that Jalen Williams beats them at their
by
own
taking
game.
charges.
Yeah, at their own game.
Duke is down 1. The ball is in Paolo Banchero's hands.
Oh, yeah.
There's 15 seconds left. He drives to the basket.
Yeah.
He thinks he gets an and one. He's going like this. He's flexing.
He's shooting a bow and arrow. Yeah.
And meanwhile, the ref is. We're going the other way.
You think it? There's no way.
Jalen Williams takes the charge, and Mike Krzyzewski. I don't know what he does.
What does he do?
What does he do?
I don't know.
Speaking of which,
headbutt somebody.
We were talking about that watching the. We can talk about the Duke game more. I don't want to jump around too much. I want to have some sort of cohesive discussion here. But it got me excited talking about the Arizona Arkansas Gonzaga game. Which congrats to Arkansas. I want to make sure we lead with that. We don't lead with the refs. Arkansas kicked Gonzaga's ass. Arkansas deserved this game. If competent refs were reffing this game, Arkansas still wins. Andrew Nembhard was terrible for Gonzaga.
Terrible.
Arkansas's pressure rattled him. JD Notte was literally thought he was Kemba Walker the entire game, and we love that on this program. So tip of the cap to him for that.
Tip of the cap.
29 times.
Talk about someone being able to just never waver in their confidence of their shot.
JD Notte, I really wish we could do like one exhibition game in this tournament. Like we could do the Duke game where it's like an experiment where the game doesn't actually count, but the only person that doesn't know that is JD Notte.
Yeah. And
we see how many absurd shots he could take before Eric Musselman tells him, like, all right, maybe calm down.
Never.
Like, what would it take? A JD Notte, like, throwing hook shots from half court?
If someone told me to explain what happened in this game, I would say that there were 2 players that won the game, Williams and Wade, right, for Arkansas.
Yeah.
They were, like, winning the game. And then JD Notte was, like, the decoy. He was like distracting Gonzaga with all the shots.
By shooting a lot.
They're just getting overwhelmed by his amount of shots while the other 2 guys won the game.
So I wanted to start with that. Thank you. I don't know why I said thank you. Congrats to Arkansas. You deserve the win. So whatever I say about the refs is not me trying to make some case that Arkansas was.
No, you won the game fair and square.
Having said that, the refs were terrible. And as we were watching the Gonzaga game, we were doing the thought experiment of what if this was Paolo? What if this was Paolo?
Yeah, you take Chet and you do what Chet does, and you say, but what if this was Paolo?
And this is how Coach K's career ended, was Paolo fouling out on some of those fouls that were called on Chet. What would Coach K do? And oh my God, what a fun thought experiment that was.
Yeah, there's literally zero chance it could ever happen. But also, if it did happen, the letters that would be sent to Mark Emmert and the official request that would be put in, it would be absurd. It would be a lot of red tape, but it would be as expected.
Arkansas did, as I said, they completely controlled this game, and I guess for a lot of people before the Duke Texas Tech game happened, and became that was a ton of fun, and that's probably the game that is going to lead every college basketball show. That's the one they're going to talk about most. But obviously, before that happened, Gonzaga going down, the number 1 overall seed in this tournament, losing. The discussion then turns to Mark Few and his program and how big a choke artist are they, and you're shaking your head. They're not choke artists.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head.
You think the program that goes to the Sweet 16 every year has made a couple national title games?
I showed you one. Someone put out a tweet like his last 5 tournaments, and it's like the worst finish is losing in the Sweet 16, and that's pretty impressive. Like the list was pretty impressive, and that the takeaway with Mark Few is that this guy is very, very impressive. Obviously, we know what the ultimate, measuring stick is with him. He's got to win a national championship. But there's no world in which that you can take this moment in time and then jump to he's a fraud. And that seems to be like what the jump is. It's like, okay, Mark Few almost won a national championship by going undefeated last year, but loses in the last game. The next year, he's number 1 and the number 1 overall seed in the tournament. And then he loses to a very good Arkansas team that Arkansas fans have said should win the national title or should be in contention. Yet he loses to them, and now he jumps immediately to frauds. It's crazy. It's crazy.
The funny part to me of hating our Mark Few, and we could certainly talk about this specific team and what went wrong for Gonzaga tonight, but the idea that Mark Few can't win the big one I saw that thought being thrown out there that Mark Few simply cannot win the big one, and I thought to myself, is beating a 4 seed in the Sweet 16 considered the big one? Because he can do that.
Yeah, he
I've
can. He's done it every time, right?
win
He had never lost in the Sweet 16, right, until this time. So it's like,
he can win the big one unless the big one's a national title, which case he can't, and that's fair.
That's fair. You can say that, but don't knock the fact that the guy could get to the national title game. That's a different conversation because we have different people that.
That's exactly. LeBron James making more NBA Finals than Michael Jordan is proof that he's better than Michael Jordan. Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that LeBron James has moved the bar down to you just have to make it and be content to lose, which is the world we live in now, which I'm fine with because, look, everybody needs some wins in life.
This Gonzaga team, is this a choke to you? Is this
no.
I'm not talking about the program. I'm not saying the program is fraudulent. I'm not saying that they are choke artists as a program. I'm saying this specific team is a team that throughout the season we would do the list of teams that have to win a national title. It's national title.
They were number one.
Literally every single time we did it, Gonzaga was on the list. That from our perspective, nothing short of a national championship should be considered a success for this team. They fell very short in terms of the rounds at play here. Now, Arkansas could go on to win the national championship. We look back on this and we're like, not that bad. Gonzaga ran into whatever.
Yeah.
For now, you lose in the Sweet 16. You're a team that we have pegged as its national title or bust, and you're saying this isn't a choke job or this isn't. How do you frame this season for Gonzaga for the number one overall seed in this tournament?
I would say if I'm Gonzaga, I mean, the Drew Timme era and experience is kind of one, like, amoeba a little bit of just like a warp time of what it is. Like, this is what Gonzaga was while he's here. And I hate that, there's a sour taste that he leaves in the Sweet 16. But regardless, like, I think that you almost just try to strip away what was last year in this amazing run, and you just try to put it singularly on this year. This year, this team was not even close to that. In fact, I think they overachieved to be the number one overall seed a little bit. You know what I mean? So, like, put it into context that you didn't expect to go on the run that maybe you expected to do last year. You lose Kispert, you lose Suggs. Those are two very pivotal pieces of part of that team. You're a worse team than you were last year. We've talked about that multiple times on the show. They could have lost to last year's team by 20 points if they played on a neutral site. So I think, like, the context of it all, if you're Gonzaga, if you frame it like that, where you're like, in this one season, coming off this season, we could have had a really big drop-off. I mean, think about what you could have expected losing in that title game and all of the ramifications of that. And, you lose Tommy Lloyd, but, like, you kind of kept things together. You get Chet.
You lose your top assistant. You lose basically your whole backcourt. Andrew Nimhard's back, but
the real version.
The real, yeah.
Like, and you were able to endure, and you were able to stay at your top spot. And yes, you got knocked off in the Sweet 16, but so does Kansas, so does Carolina, so does Duke, so does Kentucky, so does all of these other blue bloods. And I think if you're Gonzaga, you almost have to frame it like that. Don't take the little brother mindset of this. Take the mindset of, like, we expect to be here. We belong here. We will be back.
Yeah. Listen, it's a disappointment no matter how you slice it. They are 100% disappointed. You said what I was thinking, and that this team is not I don't think it's particularly close, this team in last year's team, and I would have felt that way even if this team went to the national title and lost. Last year's team was a juggernaut. They were maybe the best offense.
In a lot of years, they would have, like in 2014, last year's Gonzaga team wins a national title, no doubt.
Yes.
No offense to that UConn team, but, like, there's years where you could plug them in.
This team this year never really felt special. In the sense of, like, I will remember this team forever, or, maybe I'll remember Chet, the one year that Chet Holmgren played in college basketball. But, like, this Gonzaga team was not – last year's was special. It was they obviously went undefeated. And it wasn't just the conference play. Their non-conference run that they went on was insane. They were just destroying everybody.
Yeah. We remember the pass from Jalen Suggs.
So in that regard, I'm with you. This team dropped off. They weren't as good. But this is still a disappointment. I don't think it's a choke either. I guess I'll agree with you there. I think the reason I don't think it's a choke is because this is losing to Arkansas in the Sweet 16 is not a choke job, is because I don't think in 5 years people are going to remember who Gonzaga lost to.
There you go.
The Sweet 16.
That's a great way.
Like, I think this is just going to be another bullet point. Like, in 5 years, Mark Few hasn't won a national title still. Yeah. We're just going to get, like, the list of, like, here's the rundown. Elite 8 this year. Sweet 16
Final
this year.
Four.
Final Four. Elite 8. Sweet 16. But no one's like Wichita State to me in 2013 when they lost to Wichita State, that was a choke.
Yeah.
They choked. That was a choke job. I think and everyone remembers Morrison versus UCLA, even though UCLA was the 2 seed, Gonzaga was the 3
They were
seed.
up, what, 7?
They were up.
Yeah.
The way they lost,
Oh,
that felt choking.
That still hurts my heart, honestly.
I don't think this is a choke job. I think this is, and part of that might just be Arkansas kicked their ass, and it just wasn't, at no point in time or did you think, Gonzaga was the better team. I thought, weirdly enough, in the first half, like it was the kind of game that Gonzaga might like. Like it was, Arkansas is a team that likes to run, but usually Gonzaga, when they play a team that likes to run, Gonzaga's like, that's great that you like to run.
We like to run.
We like to run, and we're better at it.
Yeah, you're gonna get tired.
So it kind of had the makings of a game where it would work in Gonzaga's favor, but Arkansas's guards swallowed Gonzaga's guards alive. Chet Holmgren, I don't know what he did to these officials to make them hate him so much, but I was the last one, the one that Chet fouled out on. We probably have the clip. I mean, I was sitting right here, I had cameras on me. I lost my mind at that one. I absolutely lost my mind. For that guy to go out. This is the kind of game, though. This is why there's the culture war between the NBA and college basketball. Because if you're an NBA fan and you're watching this, to see Chet Holmgren, who might be the number 1 pick in the NBA draft, you're like, all right, let me see what this kid's about. And you see college basketball refs making these calls, and this kid's biggest game of his life, he gets put on the bench, plays 23 minutes, fouls out, still has 14 rebounds and 11 points. I'd be irate if I was an NBA fan just tuning in to get the Chet Holmgren experience, and you plays 23 minutes and fouls out on some BS.
And to play devil's advocate for Gonzaga fans a little bit, I mean, the score was 22-17. Chet gets his second foul. He comes out of the game. They sit him down, and then Arkansas makes a push. You know what I mean? So it's like Chet being in foul trouble was not only annoying as like you said, a casual fan who wants to watch the potential number 1 pick, it also was obviously affecting and impacting the game. And when they asked Mark Few after the game about it, I think that kind of said to me why I don't believe it's a choke job. Mark Few said, look, we got the shots that we wanted to get.
You just have to make shots.
We did not make the shots that we expected to make. We've been playing
Arkansas,
the same way all year.
if you're listening, to beat Duke,
you
have to make shots. JD, if you're listening.
Say it the other way, though.
JD
Note will never drop 30 points on Duke. That's a fact.
Can we
flip that too, please?
The refs in general, the Jalen Williams charges are egregious. It's getting out of control. How do we tell Arkansas fans this is like, it's not an indictment on you or your pro, like
thing.
You know what I mean? It's hard because you
got to blame Brad for this, because remember when Brad took 7 charges against NC State and it was like a Sports Center highlight package as if he was Trae Young? I think that was the moment that I think Jalen Williams was at home watching Sports Center, and he was saying, "I can do that. I can fall down.
I don't understand
on time.
It. I really, truly don't understand.
You were the forefront voice. You were the one who came out and said, "Stop charges."
Check the Google that shit. 2016.
Google.
I wrote.
What are you,
article.
Coach K?
Google that. Google me. Google me. Yeah, I wrote the Chargers have to go article for the ringer.com in 2016. I was ahead of my time, Tate. I was a pioneer. I was an anti-charge pioneer.
Yeah.
It truly is the worst. It like you watch Jalen Williams operate, and every Arkansas fan knows, every single one of you watching knows that if this was any other team, you would be losing your mind. And as long as you acknowledge that, I'm okay with it, I guess. But you have to understand, it is painful to watch. It is actually painful to watch this man. I saw some college basketball reporter.
Chet even tried to take a charge because he was so jealous.
Exactly.
He was like, this guy's getting all the calls. I'll try.
That's the irony of it, is that if Chet, on some of those fouls, if Chet would have just grabbed his nuts and fallen over, he would have got the call. And instead, he made the mistake of jumping straight up with his arms up straight up in the air and getting like blasted in the chest. Yeah. And he didn't fall down, and that was his mistake, and he got called for foul. I don't know. The charges are I saw some college basketball reporter types say that the charges suck, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But let me go ahead and victim blame and say that Gonzaga's doing themselves no favors by not jump stopping. It could help Gonzaga if they did XYZ and saw that Jalen Williams was there and tried to Euro step around him and all this stuff. And to that point, I would say, they don't see him there because he's not there.
He's not there. He jumps in.
They're going to jump to shoot the ball, and then the man slides in at the last second.
And then they say, foul on you.
Down.
You got it.
And I don't understand how every single person on earth can see this except for the referees. And for that reason, I'm starting to worry, Tate. You take that into account.
Yeah.
You take into account the first 2 rounds, all the bad officiating that was going on. You take into account that Gonzaga and Arizona are out on the same day that Duke wins. And you start asking yourself, with Mickey Krzyzewski sitting in the crowd and getting a ton of shots of Mickey, and you start connecting the dots, and you're like, this is a Mickey Mouse tournament.
Yeah.
It might be.
It's feeling very.
You have to
Mickey
ask
Mouse.
the question.
Yeah.
It depends on what Carolina does.
I've just been thinking about the charge call because you're right about like the refs like to make the call. It's a very strikeout move, and the flop is it's not a fun call. So I think what they should do, they should have these are the 2 options. So if it's a block, you throw up the X. Everyone likes to throw up the X. Shout out to Des Bryant. But if it's a flop, you get them to suck it.
The flop is a suck it. The block is an
block
X.
is an X.
Yeah.
So either way, it's
and
more fun.
Charges this.
No, the charges the flop
charge you like you dance around like this.
You gotta make it so you don't want to call the charge, and then I think it changes.
Charges charges the gritty or something.
Yeah.
Like you make these old men try to do the gritty.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't want to.
No, you have to Dougie because the old people hated the Dougie.
Yeah.
The Dougie was the one like Colin Coward. I mean, all these guys. That one took people, and the Dougie's like the happiest dance. It's like people smiling, like having the most fun, and people are like, if he Dougies again, I swear to God.
No,
that's the.
You know what they should do, Jim? Is your East Coast boys that like to do the pepper grinder? We'll call it.
Yep.
What is that?
The pepper grinder.
Got to start doing that.
What? Yeah, show that.
Sweeping the nation.
Show that.
Whatever the hell that is.
What is that?
That should be the charge call.
What is going on?
And then they're not calling any charges if that's the
honestly. I was already losing faith in the future, and then we saw that in New York. I was like, oh my.
I don't even want to pay. I'm scared to even do it because
don't do it.
A lot of people watching out there.
It'll be a GIF in a heartbeat.
Gifting us up. So that's the left side of the bracket. Arkansas and Duke. I do think there's the silver lining, as I said. Arkansas is a good basketball team, Tate. They're good basketball. Why don't you think they're a good basketball team?
Really good team.
They're better than Gonzaga. They proved it tonight. So if you want Duke out of this tournament, Arkansas playing Duke is actually better than Gonzaga playing Duke.
I think 1994 is a good point by you.
Arkansas, shout out to Arkansas, too, for absolutely falling apart for a month from December to January. Mm-hmm. This is how you know Muss is a sandbagging son of a bitch. He's a sandbagging.
He always has
going
been.
All the way back to.
This is what he does. Dude, he's a second half guy.
He's a sandbagging son of a bitch, and Muss, you know you are.
Yeah.
Arkansas from like mid-December to mid-January decided they were just going to simply stop playing basketball. They're like, we do not care. Shut it down. Yeah. We don't want to win.
Not our year.
Not our year. Not our year. And
our
now,
year is 2022.
As you see the way Eric Musselman's brain operates, he did this because I believe in mid-January, and sitting right over there, I was sitting in a chair and I said, I think I'm done with Arkansas. I said, I was like, it's not their year. That's okay. That happens. It's still they're still a good program. They just don't play anybody. Their non-conference schedule was garbage this year. I was just like, it's okay. I'm not mad. It's fine. It's a great program. They'll be back. It's just not their year this year. And Eric Musselman was just sitting there, like, tinning his fingers, just like, yes. Excellent.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, keep going.
Say more.
More. Keep going.
Yeah, a lot of people have reached out to us to ask if we thought Vermont could make the Elite Eight, and I think they could have. I think Vermont could have made it.
All jokes aside, Vermont gave Arkansas their best game.
That's what I'm saying. And there's a lot of people that were upset about this, but, I mean, Vermont obviously was a very tough basketball team, and I'm not going to say it, but, I mean, they maybe could have made this upset, but shout out to Arkansas because they've had a tough draw, and they've made the best of it. And look, we love Musselman. Can we just say that? We were on the Muss Bus back when he was at Nevada. So
we invented the Muss Bus.
I think we did.
I defy anybody listening to find an instance of somebody saying the words Muss Bus
before 2017.
Before you and I said it on our podcast when he was at Nevada.
Yeah, so go listen. Go all the way back.
I would love to be proven wrong, but I believe you and I may have invented the Muss Bus.
There's going to be like Coach K on his radio show in 2012 calling him the Muss Bus.
What else? Should we talk about Houston?
Yeah, I was going to ask you this question. Most surprising back-to-back Elite Eight run. Obviously, Houston went to the Final Four, but Arkansas or Houston? Most surprising based on what we saw this year.
It's Houston.
It's definitely Houston.
It's Houston.
That's why I want to give it. That's why I asked the question.
Yeah.
It's definitely Houston. Shout out to them.
Houston is off the bubble. I have Houston off my bubble. I do. They picked up a quad one win. This
They must play tapes of our show
They
in the
do.
locker room. They must.
I'll say this: I regret nothing. All the
Jamal
Houston fans,
Sheen and Kyler Edwards are just listening
Dude,
to our podcast.
all the Houston fans telling me to suck it and eat crow and everything.
Yeah.
I regret nothing. If you want to live in a participation trophy society, go for it. Be my guest. Have at it. I want to live in a world where you earn things.
Yeah.
Houston, up until this point, wanted people to just like shower them with like you haven't earned shit. I'm not gonna give you anything until you earn it.
I feel like I'm
You
watching
earned
the
it.
Jeff Foxworthy special.
I played all the sports, all of them. That was
No,
always
you're
my
right,
gripe.
though.
That was
Yeah.
always my gripe, and you can check the tapes on that. I did call Houston a fraud a million different times. I never at any point said like I hate Houston.
Yeah,
I may
you
have
don't.
said some choice things about Kelvin Sampson because he sank the Indiana program, and you know it's in my blood to kind of
Yeah.
hold something.
It's in your heart.
Yeah. So whatever. But I never cheer. I've never like cheered against Houston. I've never.
Never.
You know, whatever. I've just said you have to earn it.
Yeah.
They've
clearly earned it.
They've earned it.
Yeah.
I would say definitively they have now earned it. You have my respect. You're off my bubble.
And-
You're off my bubble. Your last 4 buys. Congratulations. Now beat Villanova and you'll actually.
Yeah. No, I will say this about Houston. Like, they were very upset when they got the 5 seed. I mean, and shout out to the Houston fans.
But like, what are you supposed to do? You didn't. You played
Well,
nobody. You lost to the good teams you played.
yeah,
Like, what do you? What,
they-
you just want us to? You're not Duke.
Well,
just
that's
want
what
us to
they
hand us
wanted.
the-
They
yeah.
wanted the respect of, like, we've
mean,
been here
come on.
before. We went to the Final Four last year. And a lot of people said, well, you're not going to go to the Final Four again this year. And just like that, Houston is back. So I want to give them their credit.
Houston, here's my promise to you. You play a tough non-conference schedule, beat some good teams next year, and
Keep dodging.
in December, I won't say you're a fraud. And if there's another team out there that's not playing anybody and racking up wins, I'll probably call them a fraud, Tate. But Houston at least beat because last year they go to the Final Four. They played nothing but double-digit seeds. It was a Mickey Mouse run. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're the guy who calls it like it is, people don't like to hear it.
You know what
But,
Houston should do? They should just, like, find, like, a team that they feel comfortable playing, like a UCLA. That's like a
Yeah.
Jordan school.
good matchup. It's
And-
Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona, sure.
Kelvin Sampson calls Tommy Lloyd. He's like, "You want to run that back?
Yeah,
I like that."
Find that one power conference school that you can figure out some sort of way to get an alliance with and play those games. Kind of what like USC and Notre Dame do in football. Do that in basketball.
Well, Houston's going to the Big 12, Tate. So
That's
we
true.
have that, and,
That's
and
right.
when they start winning in the Big 12,
Kansas
I'm off their back.
Yeah, Kansas every single
I'm
year.
off their
There you
back.
go.
But that was. I'll be honest. Houston's run to the Elite Eight is surprising. Houston beating Arizona in the way they did was not surprising. In fact, we
Kinda called it.
when we were watching the TCU game, that was our immediate reaction was like, "Oh my God, if
They're gonna
Arizona
lose to
can't handle
Houston."
TCU,
Yeah.
they're sure as hell not going to be able to handle Houston, who plays a similar style of basketball as TCU. They just do it better." And I'll be honest. I was not surprised that Houston jumped out to a big lead. Arizona made a game of it. I guess if you're an Arizona fan, the silver line, the coping that you would do is Kirk Reesum is not 100%, but maybe if he is 100%, he's taking more shots and missing more shots. So I don't know if that's a great thing. Tubelis is the guy though. Tubelis just like suddenly, I
Kind of lost it.
I got to figure out. I got to do some Big J journalism, figure out what happened to Tubelis because he lost it, man.
He lost.
He was awesome all year, and then like something happened down the stretch that I don't know what happened to him.
Creasy kind of lost his mind too in this game. Like he was like being, like I love his heart, I love his passion, but like not being 100% and also be on the court. But then when you get taken out of the game, when you have 0 points and 3 fouls, you're like swinging a towel, and I don't know. It just felt like I think
That's who he is, though.
Well,
I mean,
I think Arizona learned a lesson here. This is again they were green. This is their first time kind of all being with this group in the tournament. I think, and I hope that they learned a lesson, and I hope that next year Tommy Lloyd can come back, make the Final Four, because Arizona fans, this has been a long time coming. They've been waiting to get over the hump. This felt like a team that could do that. I hope that next year they have a group that can do that. But when
Yeah.
you lose Matherin,
That's
it's going to be tough to replace.
Might
So.
lose Coloco.
Yeah, I've
maybe.
seen that the NBA people love Coloco now, but maybe this game, I don't know. He probably has gone too.
He might be. I don't know.
But who knows?
Sick.
Creasa
The other
and
thing-
Tubelis could be the guy.
Did you know that apparently foreigners can't get name, image, likeness money according to NCAA rules?
What?
I swear this is.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
That true?
it's wrong.
That really is. Like, of all the things that Jay Billis yells about, that's actually something that's really
It's
ridiculous.
kind of messed up, right?
Well, it was.
I don't know if they changed the rule, but I remember this year hearing about that the Arizona guys like all because they're basically all
Canadian or
like,
from Iceland or
they're
wherever.
from
Yeah.
all over the world. That those dudes can't get name, image, likeness money. which does not compute to me. But
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's even like during the pandemic, there was one time I was talking to one of my cousins who was in school. He's like, yeah, some of the kids that were international, we got kicked off campus and they were like, I have nowhere to go. You know, there's like some of these things that you're thinking about. It's like, does anyone have like a second check here? You know what I mean? It's one thing to make the rule, but it's another thing to be like, does this practically work?
Although it's probably like a U.S. government deal, like green card situation at play here, and everyone's just gonna blame Mark Emmert still.
Well, let's blame. I mean, if there's a chance,
can you imagine? Like, how great would that be? The U.S. government just starts blaming, like
like the NCAA is
like
terrible.
Congress, like
they're like, it's not us. I mean, they kind of did with the FBI stuff. They're like, bring them in here. Let's talk about how corrupt they are. This is a Spider-Man meme.
Every problem why are the gas prices high? And Congress is like, Mark Emmert, ask him.
Mark Emmert.
The final game that we have not
Villanova.
talked about is Villanova beating Michigan, which is honestly, I mean, my thoughts on this are the exact thoughts I had on Villanova beating Ohio State. Ho hum. This is Villanova is a machine. Villanova playing Houston is going to be one hell of a basketball game, Tate, because there are not two teams in this tournament. I don't care who you want to point to that's left. I will fight you on this. There are not two teams in this tournament with more defined cultures than Houston and Villanova, and they're going to play each other. And both of these teams, they don't play the same. They're not. I wouldn't say they're similar, but they have that in common. That they both. Every single person that's going to see the floor in this game knows exactly what his coach wants. I was
going to say you're right.
And in that regard, if you love college basketball, that's a game you circle. My father will love that game.
Yeah,
he will go nuts for that game. He will watch Duke and Arkansas, and he will complain about how Mark Williams has his shirt untucked too much. But he will watch Houston and Villanova and say, "I like that."
Coach Titus will be right yet again. Sampson versus Jay Wright. I mean, coaches in college are usually kind of the main draw, you know, when you come to a lot of these games. And Kelvin Sampson, as John Rothstein will remind you, if you were going to start a program, why would you not start it with Kelvin Sampson? He's the number one guy.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, what could go wrong? Jay Wright is also the number one coach in college basketball, if you ask, most people. So those two guys.
If you're starting a different program, you would start.
You would start it with Jay Wright.
But if you're starting like a program,
brand new program,
if you're starting this kind of program,
how many programs can get started? Yet whatever coach just won, John Rothstein says you would start your program.
Start with them.
Yeah, we don't know, but I love that coaching matchup because I think Sampson and Jay Wright are both amazing. So they're gonna have that'll be a chess match for sure.
The guy for Villanova that has been awesome in this tournament is Samuels, who is averaging
Jermaine
18 and 8.
Samuels. Yeah.
And he if he continues to play like he is, I really watching Villanova just pick apart Michigan, which I don't say to suggest it was a blow up, but I mean pick apart in that, like, at no point am I watching this after Villanova kind of builds a little bit of a lead do I think to myself, like, we might have a game here. Michigan's chipping away at this. Even as Michigan got it down to like 4 at one point or whatever, I was like, I don't know. Villanova doesn't make mistakes. They hit free throws. They did Colin Gillespie.
They're not going to
rock
panic.
Solid. They're not going to panic. It's going to be like Villanova. I'm panicking about Villanova when they're down 7 with a minute left. Then I'm like, all right, they might actually lose. And as I'm watching them do to Michigan what they did to Ohio State and what they did to Delaware, and what they did throughout the Big East tournament, Tate, I started wondering, should Villanova maybe be the favorite in this tournament? For those reasons.
Yeah, I mean, of the 4 teams that are remaining,
or the winner of Houston Villanova, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, of the 4 teams remaining that have made it, punched their ticket to the Elite Eight, I would say Villanova is the favorite of the 4. The one I believe the most you believe in the most, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Duke's probably the favorite, but I would think Villanova is a team, like you said. I mean, they're not going to blow a lead. They're not going to throw a game away, and I saw it at the Big East tournament, and I said to you, I mean, I watched these guys like practice and get off the bus, and I could tell you they expect to go to the Final Four.
The get off the bus test.
The get off the bus test was like I still feel it because of because I remember watching Tyler Hansbrough, so like I would see the psycho look on his face, and I'm like, there's no one like that. Colin Gillespie had the same vibes, and I'm telling you, it was the same moment click in my brain where I was like, that guy's going to the final.
Tate gave Colin Gillespie a head nod, and Colin Gillespie did not head nod back. And that's when Tate knew that Colin Gillespie is.
It was more just like the look in his eyes, man. Like it's like 1 degree before deranged. You know what I mean? And it's like you love it. You loved it. Like if I was his coach and they were like, "Hey, how you feel about Colin tonight?" and I look over, I'm like, "Yeah, we're gonna be all right." You know? He has that kind of assurance in his belief.
Do you think Colin Gillespie's a good hang?
No.
off the court?
I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't like to judge people, but like from what
No,
I saw,
but let's judge him. Let's
from what I
based
saw,
on, based on how
from
he
what
plays.
I saw, that mentality, Tyler Hansbrough is a good hang. I figured that out, so I would say he's a good hang.
All right.
Later on in life, maybe not right now.
I do. I am slowly talking myself in the winner of Houston Villanova.
To win the
maybe be
title?
should be the favorite to win the title.
I like.
Yeah, I do. Because like I said, the thing with Houston too, man, is that everyone wants to talk about their defense because they do play great defense. But in talking about how they play defense and the culture that Houston basketball has, it makes it feel like we're talking about a team that is just trying to turn every game into a rock fight.
Yeah,
and
that's
throw
not
up
very
bricks and-
good.
yeah,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
very talented.
They are very talented.
Like the way Houston gets talked about is that it's a Mick Cronin Cincinnati team.
Yes.
And the tough shots that Kyler Edwards, dude, hit like 3. How many threes did he hit tonight? I don't even know, but I saw 2 of them where he just kind of sized the guy defender up, just rose up and splashed in your face, and I was like, that doesn't happen on Mick Cronin unless it was Sean Kilpatrick. That never happened for the Mick Cronin Cincinnati type teams.
Yeah.
So it's the Houston offense is like kind of underrated. Am I the biggest Houston fan?
Well, I was gonna say this. I mean, imagine if Marcus Sasser was on this team. I mean, like what they
Draymond Mark too, dude. They
Yeah.
lost their two best players.
That's what I mean. Like, and last year they have Quentin Grimes.
And
who
some
was
people
the
want to
star
call
of
them
their
frauds,
team.
dude. It's disgusting. It makes 0 sense.
But
It shows you how many busters are out there talking about
If
college
you're-
basketball.
If
don't
you're
know what they're
Houston, you feel really good as a program about where you are right now, and that's exciting.
Yeah,
Especially
I
with
would agree with
Elijah
that.
Wan in the building. I mean, that's always good.
You know who else would feel really good is the Duke Blue Devils, who saw the top 2 teams in this tournament fall on the same night that
Yeah.
they beat the biggest threat that a lot of people thought would knock them out of the tournament, Tate. So final thoughts as we wrap up this show. Thoughts on tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, should we talk about that quickly? I mean,
Yeah.
what's your what game are you circling tomorrow that you're excited to watch?
Well-
Because I mean, I think there's two games that probably get the casual fan locked in, but
Yeah.
then I think the other 2 games will be sneaky good. I think Purdue St. Peter's might be a better game than people think.
Nobody's gonna watch Iowa State Miami. No,
No, but
disrespect to
and that's the
but
game after
it's-
Carolina UCLA, or I guess it's staggered, so
Yeah,
it'll be the last game. But
it's gonna be a good game, but
Yeah.
no one's gonna want to watch it. Or
I
care
agree with
because they're gonna watch all these other 3. I would say Carolina UCLA's got to obviously be the biggest game of the night, right? That's the one.
yeah, but I think the media is going to pump. I mean, Kansas Providence is like Ed Cooley's beloved.
Ed Cooley and Bill
Yeah,
Self.
yeah,
are fun.
that might be like quote unquote like the
It's-
number 1 game of the
yeah.
night. But I think UNC UCLA will be fast.
UNC UCLA is fascinating because both of those teams are obviously blue bloods, but both of those teams have had up and down seasons and now find themselves in a position where like we are not only going to win this game, but we have like the more talented team. Even Carolina, who's
Yeah.
an 8 seed and has not had a great season all told throughout the course of the season. All of Carolina's guys are like, we're more talented than UCLA. So
Yeah,
a lot of times
both
you're trying
sides are
to
saying
when you're trying to pull the upset, you're like, we're not as talented, but we're gonna win this way by being smarter or taking care of the ball, whatever it is. Carolina's like, we have better. If this is a game of X's and O's versus Jimmy's, we have the better Joes.
Yeah.
We're gonna go out and. Did I just Charles Barkley?
I think you did, but I think you're right. I mean, I think that Mick Cronin is the secret of this game because I think Mick Cronin is the better head coach, and that's nothing to say about Hubert Davis, but it's just that Mick Cronin has been in these situations. He understands the matchups that he wants to get Carolina in. He knows how to play against a Carolina team, and I think the best thing that could happen for this Carolina team is that they just play free.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's just like, hey, if we hit shots today and we're the more talented team, then great. But, I mean, we joked about the happy to be here. Brady Manick literally said in his press conference, I'm happy to be here. I've never made it this far. So I think there's a little bit of that's going to happen with this Carolina team, especially if they get down early to UCLA.
The St. Peter's Purdue game is going to be fun, too, because
St. Peter's runs offense.
Yeah.
And
they
guess
play
what?
defense.
And guess what they play? They play a zone,
yeah.
which is can I just shout out Jim Boeheim? Because Jim Boeheim, I appreciate the fact that Jim Boeheim makes the ACC learn how to play against a 2-3 zone. You know what I mean? It's like he teaches the whole league how to do it. So when you get to the tournament and St. Peter's runs a zone, I mean, Kentucky's like, we haven't seen a basic 2-3 zone in some time.
Yeah.
How do we beat this? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So shout out to Jim Boeheim for making that.
Well, I mean, Texas Tech tonight.
Yeah.
Throws the zone out there.
Yeah.
Texas Tech's like, what
Stole
the
it
hell
from
is this?
Boeheim. Yeah.
What the hell is this? I'm interested to see will Jaden Ivey opt out because there are rumors swirling that Jaden Ivey might not even play in this game.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but there's a Purdue fan watching that just had a heart attack. Like, what
you
are
had
you
me
talking about?
going. I was like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "What world do we live in these days?" I mean, it would be hilarious if he was like, "I'm sitting out this game and saving myself for the next round."
If Paolo Banchero
That would be a paladin.
wants to be a legend,
Yeah.
if he wants to go down in the annals of college basketball,
Remembered forever.
literally forever, have statues on multiple campuses across this country, he will opt out before the Arkansas game.
Facts.
Said, I did enough against Texas Tech
Facts.
to show that I am the guy.
I've talked to my family and those close to me, and they have advised me that in my best interest, I should pull out of this Duke Arkansas game.
And if he doesn't, I don't want to say he's a coward, so I'm not going to say he's a coward.
No,
I'm
going to say he's just not putting himself first, and I care about the kids.
That's what it is.
I think that these kids should be able to maximize their profitability.
I actually do agree.
The time
with
is
that.
now.
I think when you look at what happened with Zion with the shoe blowing out, and now he's in a position like where there's a lot of question marks about kids.
And a lot of people were saying, like, if you opt out, will you still be a first-round pick? Well, Jalen Johnson did it last year, and he was a first-round pick. So I think you have.
And he's killing it in the league, right?
Honestly, he's averaging 20 points a game in the G League, but he's doing great. He's doing great.
There you go. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. We will be watching Carolina and UCLA. I for the record, for all of you bettors at home, for those who are into this sort of thing, I will be sitting in this chair.
He's trying to.
He will be sitting in this chair, but during the North Carolina game. So take that into account as
we watched the Marquette game together. A lot of people don't remember that.
Did we?
Yeah, a lot of people forget.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens. See you guys tomorrow.
Thank you.